All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Industrial Souls. Today, we're going to be talking with Selim Maalouf. And Selim is a fascinating guy with a lot of technical experience, a lot of technical know-how, an engineering background from the industrial world, a HubSpot consultant, a content marketer, a digital marketer extraordinaire. He's going to share his career story with us and also a little bit about his background. In this show, Industrial Souls, we're trying to get to know the people behind the machinery, who they are, what makes them tick, what they're all about. And hang on, because things are about to get industrial. Hey, Selim, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, John. Doing really good. I have to admit the music choice is spot on. Being a content creator, like making podcasts, I've been in those music libraries for so long trying to nail that industrial, sound, and you got it.
Oh, thanks for saying that, bro. Like, I actually found that particular track like a year ago and stuck it in a folder and was waiting for something to do with it and pulled it out for this intro segment. So I'm glad that you appreciate it because that means a lot.
do.
Hey, so welcome and thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We've known each other for a little while and we've talked a ton on the Industrial Marketing Live on tech stacks and things like that. I know you really know your stuff regarding HubSpot, and basically the whole tech stack is kind of like your specialty. You have a lot of great things to say. We've had some super fun combos along those lines. But just to get everybody up to speed, anybody who might happen to know you, not know you, to just, why don't you fill us in on sort of your career path up to today? I know you have an announcement that you want to make later, so we'll get to that after this. But just so that we can, start from the beginning, how did you get into doing all of this stuff?
So, as you mentioned, I started as an industrial engineer, and I was fascinated by, I remember specifically at school, we took a field trip to a bottling plant, and just as a kid watching all those bottles just rip through, and I was so amazed that I wanted to be a part of this. So I learned industrial engineering, worked 3 years as a designer and 3 years as a applications engineer supporting the sales team. And at that point, like I'm from Lebanon. I'm American, but I grew up in Lebanon, and there the technical track is really not that advanced. So when you get to a point, you have to decide, if I want career growth, I need to go into sales or marketing or business management or some sort of that. And I chose marketing because I enjoyed creative writing. I used to write short stories and opinion pieces and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, I can do this for a living. So I jumped into the HubSpot blog, learned about inbound marketing, and landed my first digital marketing job at the same company. And through events not in my control, things in Lebanon were not looking too good. So I moved back to the US and got into HubSpot. Every step of the way, I worked in HubSpot, so I was very interested in learning and getting better at HubSpot. And I've always been the accidental admin, so getting good at HubSpot was something that was really critical. And through the last job, me and Chris Carolyn were the whole team was let go. So we decided, hey, let's do this. Let's join forces and create a technical HubSpot partner.
Combo.
Yeah, called Conveyor Message. And we had a really wild ride trying to pick a space for ourselves from scratch, trying to focus specifically on the industrial and manufacturing space, because anyone who works in HubSpot is really grown up in the SaaS space, and none of them really understand the intricacies of go-to-market in industrial space, and also the personalities of industrial leadership, and how the whole space has really a lot of inertia and is really not quick to move on to new technologies. So, coming in with HubSpot is like, oh my God, I got to uproot my, 1998 ERP with no GUI. So after amazing 11 months, I have moved on to my next step in my journey.
And speaking of next step in a journey, I know you've talked about joining an elite HubSpot partner. So, and I know there's an announcement I think you want to make. So go ahead and tell us all about it.
Yeah. So as you noticed, I midstream I changed my my title because I did a lot of content marketing with Conveyor Message, but this new opportunity, I'm focusing solely on HubSpot solutions, technical HubSpot solutions, and integrating with all disparate systems, ERPs, and data lakes, and all that. You're familiar with that. You do great work at Bridger. If you are in the HubSpot space, you know about them. If you don't, I introduce you to Aptitude 8, who is a technical consultancy. They're not an agency. They do some of the most intricate and complicated projects that I ever seen. Some stuff like migrating 3 million contact records from system to system. Right. So a really exciting opportunity, and I'm joining them as a senior solutions consultant. And anyone who's following me is going to notice that there's going to be slightly less, industrial and content marketing, and a little bit more focus on content that might have an orange tint to it.
A little more HubSpot logos in your content.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
which is interesting, because in a lot of the conversations in the industrial space, Chris and I, we've been in the community, in the industrial manufacturer community. Everybody loves what we're doing, but we always get the question of like, can we work with you without HubSpot? And at that point, we're like conflicted, because we believe in HubSpot even before having become a HubSpot solutions partner. So at that point, we're like, but it's good for you. Like, it's not because we want to sell you software licenses. Yeah. We truly believe that it will be better for you as far as your tech stack goes. So
it's sort of like the default choice, in my personal opinion, like in terms of how you would start off, especially in something like industrial marketing, where oftentimes they have nothing and you're coming in and they're saying, well, what do we start with? Because they've just made it so much better over time and so much more capable. And we do have a congrats coming in.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a great de facto standard. A lot of people have a ton of experience in it. Obviously, marketers have a ton of experience in it, content marketers, but it's really become way more powerful for a lot of other things, a lot of other areas of managing data and the customer, kind of 360 customer interaction. So what is it about HubSpot and all this technical stuff, I guess, what in there particularly is your passion and focus in your work?
So being an industrial engineer, I am very analytical. I think in flowcharts, and it speaks to me. These tech stack conversations, they speak to me. Like, I love figuring out those puzzles. Sometimes like you have to see like, platform A and platform B, how do they fit? Oh, they don't fit directly. Can we try to make them fit directly? No, maybe we need to put something in the middle. Those conversations and those challenges are really interesting to me, and they kind of tickle my brain. But I have to admit, HubSpot doing the inbound marketing content play early on and becoming the de facto knowledge base for learning about inbound marketing has a lot to do with my affinity to it. Like it's the first source of knowledge that I had. In comparison, for example, something like Salesforce, there's a bit more gating towards that education. Like it's more like, oh, you're being serious about this. Here's a paid certification, and the exams are proctored, and like it's more like, oh, I definitely want to have my career go down the Salesforce route. That's the only way I can access the knowledge. So having the HubSpot knowledge be super available got me really interested in it. And honestly, every step of the way in my career, I had HubSpot. So I learned quickly, hands-on, how easy it was to use, and I witnessed its transformation from a marketing automation tool slowly to a CRM and a sales enablement tool to the addition of Service Hub. And then they brought a CMS Hub, which is kind of polarizing. I'm pro CMS Hub myself, but like all the connections that are possible now with CMS Hub, it's just all of it for me makes sense. All of it is easy to implement because it's native. It's not cobbled together. You, out of all people, know like integrating systems is not an easy task, and maintaining those integrations is tough and needs a lot of effort, and having that be all in one place. And recently they've had Commerce Hub, which is the foray into online transactions. It just gets me excited because now we can do some really cool solutions that were really not available to people without, 6-figure, 7-figure budgets before.
Right. Yeah. And actually, I think Salesforce has more of a like clump together. We bought like some things and tacked them on. I kind of feel, and HubSpot has more of this like unified, everything just kind of seems to work together and be less clunky. Clunky is like, when I think of Salesforce, like that, if I had an adjective for it, that would be it.
It's a cobbled together collection of the best point solutions, but they don't work well together.
Right. And you even have to have integrations between its own solutions. Like I've had this conversation multiple times about Pardot and Salesforce marketing account engagement or whatever the heck it's called. And they have like 3 different marketing modules or whatever. And everybody's super confused. Like, what is this? Is this Salesforce? Is this something else? And then you have to have a connector that like connects this modules that are Salesforce to each other. It's kind of like weird. In my personal opinion, no offense, Salesforce people. I know there's some excellent Salesforce people out there.
Any marketer that's been forced to use Pardot and listening right now had some flashbacks.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, but I do think like Salesforce, HubSpot has been slow on the uptake, but when they get there, the answer is kind of like smooth and fairly nice.
It's interesting that you say it's been slow because the last year and a half has been frenetic and crazy because like they've had more than 1,000 feature updates, and it's obvious they are intending to catch up to enterprise functionality because they want to be playing in enterprise, and it's showing. And I'm not I don't usually use the stock market to gauge how good things are going, but things are going great for HubSpot and not great for Salesforce.
No. Yeah. And, I know that they've been blitzing like in the last year, let's say, especially, but for the longest time, it was like, well, how do you manage international business units? All of that was like difficult up until fairly recently. And then all of a sudden, like they started putting in place kind of more enterprise level stuff, which I think has made it much more viable. It seemed like at first it was targeted for small companies, and now it's like they're thinking bigger and taking market share. And
2 days ago, they launched the HIPAA compliance beta.
Yeah. But all of this feels like, okay, like this should have come out 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's out now. So, hey, we're great.
Yeah.
And,
In fact, that's why I am really comfortable doing a career move that kind of pushes me deeper into the HubSpot ecosystem versus, trying to step away, being platform agnostic, because I am confident on the updates that are coming and how HubSpot is approaching this.
Yeah. So just to get back onto you as a subject, where do you think your love for all of this technical stuff is rooted? I'm just curious. You have engineer parents, or where does this drive for all things technical come from?
So I think we're almost all engineers in the family. I'm the eighth child, and I think in the family we have like 5 engineers and 2 architects. So we've always been technical people. We always love to dig into challenging technical problems. But to be fair to myself, I've also kind of unlocked some creativity on my side, dabbling a lot in content and writing, and having written on LinkedIn articles for the past 4 years, kind of allowed myself to show my humor and show my creativity. And I got some really good feedback, and that has been a really good I hate to say it, but like having people click a like button, comments like, "Hey, I loved reading this," kind of gets you wanting to create it more, and like you get caught on the hamster wheel of like, I want people's validation, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of a little bit like brothers in some senses, because I love the creative stuff also, and I love the technical stuff also, and they don't often like come together in a package. Like, you find yourself switching sort of from one to the other. I wonder like what you think your outlet for your creativity and humor will be if you become more focused on, say, technical consulting and technical implementations.
Yeah, I have been workshopping a new show called Network Play, where working professionals come and share their passion for video games. And I'm doing it on LinkedIn, which is, people are going to say, hey, it's not Facebook, it's LinkedIn. Well, I'm going to try it and see if people enjoy it, because
why not?
Anytime I have conversations with people, like background conversations, like everybody is enjoying playing video games. So like, hey, why can't we talk about this in public? So that's going to be like my creative outlet after work. While during the work, we're going to be deep into spreadsheets, deep into data models, and yeah.
Plus, I'm sure you'll still be doing stuff just for your own personal branding or personal presence in socials.
Yeah, but in the name of not spending all my waking hours on LinkedIn, I'm settling into a nice rhythm of getting someone to host me as a guest, like you've graciously done today, talking, having a conversation, and then taking that conversation and clipping that into little clips that share my thought process and expertise, and it's been going well. Like I've gotten away from not doing my own content for the past month.
Does it feel good?
It does. So at Conveyor Message, we produced a lot of media in a very short amount of time.
Producer.
Yeah, and I have to admit, it was fun, but also it got too heavy because I produced it like to the highest quality, and everything was really great. We got great feedback. But as far as talking about like pipeline generation from this content activity, we weren't seeing it at the speed and quality we wanted. So at that point, I had to stop and say, hey, the analytics that we're looking at say a different story than we think we want to believe that it's going to pick up at some point. So like at that point, I had to decide, okay, this has to become less resource intensive. The same content quality, but like maybe not the same production quality.
Right. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, you got a lot of things you're juggling, and I just want to take a second real quick just to talk to anybody who's listening live. If you have a question for Selim, feel free to throw it in the comments, or if you just have a comment. But yeah, any questions before we get too far into the show, just throw them in the comments and we'll try to answer them. On this point, I'm going to pivot, kind of a hard pivot, which is I want to talk about something that you and I talked about a long time ago. I know you said that you've talked about this before, but I think it's a great story and interesting from the human angle. And actually, we're not too far from like the 4-year anniversary of this event, because I think it was early August, which is the explosion that happened in Beirut in Lebanon, which was massive. And it was all over the news at the time when it happened. And I believe at that time, you were just like moving into a new office or something like that. And you were literally like in Beirut when this explosion happened. So if you don't mind, why don't you tell us about that whole experience and that part of your life?
Yeah, it's an experience that I've slowly stopped talking about because it's really heavy and, casual conversation. Not everybody enjoys thinking about the fact that these kinds of explosions could happen and could happen to people they know. But at the time, I had just recently moved my operations into a downtown office, and we left an office that is close to where my now wife used to work at. And when we left for home, we have our typical route, and we were less than a mile away from the explosion. We're really grateful that we were in a corridor of really tall buildings. So the blast, we were kind of shielded from the blast. It was a harrowing experience, and I go through it. I had a write up 4 days after it happened. It's on my LinkedIn that goes into a lot of the detail and a lot of the context, because the explosion itself was really massive. A lot of casualties, a lot of injured people, 300,000 people displaced. But that happened to a country that was already crumbling economically, and had nothing to do with COVID. It was, if anyone's familiar with what happened to Venezuela and how their currency just disappeared, it kind of happened to us. And at that point, we were already in the process of thinking of like, how do we find other opportunities outside of the country? And me being American was, I had already been planning to come back to the US, but that event kind of accelerated our process, especially since me and my wife were in that car and it was so close. But 4 years after this, we are in much better position. Both of us, my wife recently also started a new job. We're both on the upswing in our careers. We're comfortable. We're having a good life, and I'm really happy that I am able to talk about it like 4 years after the fact, and not just be a name, on a list of casualties.
Yeah. You still have family over there?
I do. Yes.
Are they in Beirut or?
Lebanon is kind of small in comparison. So like the length of Lebanon is like the width of California, or it's like from Richmond to DC. Like it's a really tiny country. So not everybody is in Beirut. They're slightly away from Beirut, but they're still living there. I have a brother in California, and a couple of siblings all across the world. Lebanon has been the prime exporter of brilliant minds, and it's sad to see that even parents, when they're advising their kids, they're like, yeah, find some track to get you out of the country, which is sad to see. Yeah.
Yeah, Lebanon is not alone in that. I mean, even where I am, which is Portugal, a lot of the kids, almost all of the kids, graduate from college and immediately move somewhere else because the pay levels and the economy is kind of low here. And you got a lot of countries suffering from brain drain, more or less. Everybody gets a degree and goes somewhere else and lives their life. It's actually a blessing to be in a country like the U.S., which is a target for destination, let's say, for so many people who are trying to, they've bettered themselves in some way and they're trying to go on to the next phase of their life. So, yeah, I'm glad you were able to get out of there and be in a place now where you're thriving and, really coming into, I would say coming in your own. You're already in your own, but you know what I mean.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're just thriving,
No, it is.
doing great.
It has been a transformational period recently. So yeah, I'm feeling really excited for what's to come.
Yeah. So, just sort of wrapping things up with your work, whether it's consulting or with your new company or whatever that you would want to do. What kind of people are you looking to work with, and how do you help these people? And if you want to kind of give a elevator pitch of this is how I could help you, or if you're this kind of person, we need to talk. What would that be?
Well, it's easy. If you're in an organization that needs a go-to-market tech stack strategy and implementation, it doesn't have to have HubSpot at its heart. Aptitude 8 is, in my opinion, one of the best out there, and they can handle some of the largest accounts. Plus, they have been really a big part of the HubSpot ecosystem. So if you're in an organization looking for a go-to-market tech stack overhaul, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to help.
And is that basically the best way to get a hold of you, your LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn, my name, look up my name. I believe I'm the only one. But if it's very easy to find me on LinkedIn. Also, I don't use any other social media than LinkedIn, so you might also catch a glimpse of my hobbies, such as my photography, and maybe you might catch that video game show. Who knows? Oh, yeah, and drumming. I I apologize. Hey, I know you wanted us to jam live. We should do that, but we should practice first
Jump in.
because I have never played online. I know the delay might be a little tough. Hey,
We'll have to save that for another episode because, dude,
Yeah. I have a poop emoji shaker. I can.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We jammed live.
We did,
Percussion jam on
technically.
LinkedIn. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, that was
Yeah.
cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Selim, thank you so much. Bud, always good to talk to you. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot because I'm a HubSpot user. A lot of my customers are HubSpot users. I definitely need to know more about your new company and what all you do. And this is all new to me too. So look forward to learning more about that.
Are you going to inbound?
I'm not.
Okay, never mind.
But I'll catch up with you about
Cool.
it. You can tell me all about it. But anyways, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
Everybody who's listening or watching afterwards, thank you guys for paying attention and tuning in. And we will catch you next time. Thanks.